Good evening, audience. Good evening, fellow USOSANs. Good evening, the TNN audience. It's the maiden edition of a collaboration that's going to go a long way in educating, informing, and enlightening our members, both the TNN audience and the USOSA alumni as a whole. Rightly so, the maiden edition is going to start the right way with the main person who carries us all along, and that is in form of the President General of the association. Michael Magaji, welcome to the platform. My fellow panelists.
Thank you, David. Good evening. I'm happy to be here.
My fellow panelists will introduce themselves shortly, but the first thing we want to do is get the President General, Michael Magaji, because this is the first time he is speaking with all USOSANs. We want him to deliver his annual message to USOSANs for 2025. So we'll open the floor to you, PG, for you to please address the USOSANs as well as the TNN audience with a New Year message. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Michael Magaji. I'm President General of USOSA, Unity School Origins Association. And let me begin by wishing all USOSANs a Happy New Year and blessings and best wishes for a great 2025. 2024 was a pretty challenging year for a lot of us, particularly in Nigeria, and even the global economy suffered from a whole lot of setbacks. But we believe 2025 will be much better. Here in Nigeria, I'm glad to report that, at least from what we've seen from the federal budget, education is number 3 in terms of value appropriated in the budget after defense and issues around security and infrastructure. That is also very nice to know, because we can see that the federal government is paying more attention and allocating more resources to social infrastructure, namely education and, of course, health, which is also top on the list. So I'm sure that public education, particularly in Nigeria, all tiers, basic, secondary, and university, will see more allocation. We will concentrate on the governance of such funds and how those funds are appropriated. So I'll be calling on all our executives, our officials, our NEC members, our SBMCs across the country to closely monitor the quality of governance and expenditure in our schools, and to actively participate in decision making, to actively participate also in monitoring. We're very fortunate to have Budget, an international NGO that is working with us basically to check how public funds are spent in Unity schools across Nigeria. And this is a relationship that started 2 years ago. So we're glad that they're going to work with us to see that the Nigerian citizens and students in these schools get value for money. As USOSANs, our primary objective is to promote, accelerate the quality of public education across Nigeria. And how do we do this? Through advocacy, through mobilizing members, through the support we get from you, alumni members who are using your time and resources to deploy same to our schools. As USOSA too, we will continue to advocate and work with the federal government of Nigeria, the owners of those schools, to ensure that we provide thought and practical leadership to public policy as far as secondary and to some extent basic education is concerned. I'm sure you are also aware that there is a move by the federal government to decouple the Unity schools into senior secondary and junior secondary. Essentially, the governance structure will change, but content and curriculum will not. But again, that's more work for us in terms of being able to measure and monitor the progress that's being made. So I want to enjoin all you USOSANs in all your alumni associations to put in your best to support your leaders, and to the leaders too, I want to call on better quality service, inclusive governance, which to me I think is very important. And whichever area and locality you are based, contribute to elements around public education. This year, we'll be starting off the year with a NEC retreat in a few days' time, where we'll set strategic direction for where we want to go 2025. After that, we also intend to host a sports carnival, the third episode in Port Harcourt, which is kindly being promoted, largely supported by USOSA's resident in Port Harcourt. Last year, we launched Alumni Hub, which is a portal, an online portal that will aggregate USOSANs all over the world. And through a messaging, e-trading, knowledge sharing system, we'll get closer to each other, know each other better, be able to network, be able to promote professional services where those are involved among USOSANs. This was launched in the UK last year at the plenary, and we intend to promote that even much more this year. So I want to thank all those who have been working with us, our partners, Alumni Hub. I want to thank our partners in other areas of technology, where we'll also be deploying more tools of technology across schools. Last year, we were able to meet with the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education, who is also an old student of UNITATE school, and he promised that he will concentrate a lot on the digital application and improving learning experience in UNITATE school. So we're going to work with some of our partners in that particular initiative. So I'd like all alumni also to key into this. Another key project we have for 2025 is the documentary on the legacy of UNITATE schools. We have, over the last 2 years, been celebrating 50 years of the second generation of UNITATE schools. And this is continuing into this year, 2025. There are still a few schools who are turning 50. And I think it's important we measure the impact that UNITATE schools have had in Nigeria and indeed across the world, because our members are all over the world doing great stuff. So this documentary is going to capture school by school, location by location, particularly those schools who have excelled in what they've been doing. And I know this is the same story in most schools, but we'll manage the time which we have to produce that documentary, to put in as much information. So the government of Nigeria will know what the impact has been on the investment it made on UNITATE school students many years ago. So this is something that we also want to pursue this year. It will become a collector's item, it will become something for advocacy and to showcase how well this public policy in education worked over the last 50, 60 odd years. Sometime in July, we'll be having a plenary also. This time, the second in diaspora, and this will be in Toronto, Canada. The Canadian team has done very well over the last 1 year, mobilizing its members, and they've taken on the challenge to host a plenary. We brought diasporans into the fold because we believe they are very important. They're also USOSANs, they deserve to be heard. And we're quite happy that the USOSA team, and there are over 500 of them today in Canada, who are actively preparing for the plenary in Canada. So I invite USOSANs, for those of you who can come, and for those who cannot, please, you can follow online. Your voices will still be heard. We also have a continuation of the 50th anniversary of some of the schools across the country. So I'll be going around alongside ESCO members and, of course, those NEC members who can make it, to celebrate and assess the impact of the 50 years. And then we'll conclude the year with the plenary and AGM in Abuja, as well as elections for BOT members. There are some BOT positions that will be vacant before the end of the year, so we intend to tidy that up in 2025. So I think it's going to be a very busy year. It's going to be a very active year. We'll continue to mobilize members across the country. We have a lot of work to do in terms of adding on more schools. Today, we actively have about 50 schools who have participated, registered in one form or the other in our activities. But out of 110, you can see that we still have quite a lot to do. So we'll continue with that mobilization. We will also, very importantly, address welfare issues for USOSAs. We know there are big challenges with jobs. So there are big challenges with those running their businesses, and we'll look at areas around welfare where we can improve the welfare, give USOSAs the connect, give them the network where they can thrive and improve. And for those who are unemployed or underemployed, we'll continue to look for opportunities where they would find positions and roles they can play in different organizations, whether it's in the public or the private sector. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, on behalf of the National Executive Committee and Executive Committee, I would like to thank all of you for the support which you've given this administration over the last 2 years, and we look forward to more collaboration with all the NEC members. Please fasten your seatbelts. There's still so much to do. We will continue to listen. We will continue to serve you in the best way possible in the interest of our country, Nigeria. We'll continue to support the federal government and the sub-national government that wants support in terms of how public education should go, particularly at the secondary school level. USOSA will share its expertise, and in doing that, we do hope that it builds a strong, viral, and a knowledge-based country. On that note, let me thank you all and wish you the best of 2025. God bless you all. God bless USOSA. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Wow. Explosive. There's a lot to do, PG. We're grateful for your work. You have a strong team behind you who obviously will give you all the support. I, as an USOSAN, will also pledge to deliver my support through any means that is at my disposal. Let me open the floor to my fellow panelists. I will start with Chioma. Chioma is the Publicity Secretary for USOSA. I will give her a chance to introduce herself, and then she will fire the first salvo of questions to PG. Thank you, Chioma. The floor is yours. You're muted, Chioma.
Thank you, David. Why are you making PG feel like he's on the hot seat? Why? When you say fire him, question. All right, my name is Choma.
I want to know where's all the fire coming from.
I am Choma Aniwe, Publicity Secretary USOSA, and hearing PG speak is exciting because it feels like we're going to really have a roller coaster of a year, and I'm looking forward to working closely with him to deliver all the things that he has talked about. Okay, not to fire PG with questions, but I'm just I want USOSANs to know where he's coming from, given that the last 2 years before the election of October 2024, he was also at the helm of affairs, and I know that when he took over that position, yes, work has started, but he took it over and there were accomplishments, things that he did that brought us to 2024 when he took over for the second tenure. So I would just want PG to share where we're coming from, the journey, where he met USOSA at the time he took over and where USOSA is today. I would just like USOSANs to hear about that, PG.
Okay, thanks, Choma. Again, let me respectfully recognize all my predecessors, all President Generals who have served here in USOSA over the last 17 years. We are asked to come and serve and to build upon what our predecessors have done, and that's what we try to do. When I came in 2023, I took over from Mr. Lawrence Wilbert, a great gentleman who did so much for USOSA over the 4 years that he was President General. And I started by looking at how we could develop strategic partnerships. So not just internal thinking by USOSA, but working with groups who are also in the education space to see, well, are there areas of synergy? Can we create value for the sector in a more profound and deliberate way? So we started looking at signing on partnerships with people involved in the education space, whether they were NGOs, whether they were ed tech companies, whether they were associations that deal with quality assurance, which is very important for the sector, or people that do advocacy and check public finance, like Budget, an NGO that is very well known for being able to monitor quality of governance and spending, particularly public expenditure. So I thought we could expand the horizon a bit more, to get in the views of these people and get their input to what we do, because what they do is complementary and in fact very important for what we also do. So we got into certain partnerships. We signed MOUs with them, basically to engage them in ways that would be useful. And by that, it's not just USOSA, but to be able to say, you know what, you can work with individual schools to do your quality checks, like an educare or a Budget that actually came to one of our NEC retreats and showed our NEC members how, through their website, you can actually check quality of spending, even in community schools. And they were ready and prepared to even check what was going on. So we started those kind of partnerships with those kind of organizations. We're also concerned about climate change. So we partnered with Green Sahara, another organization, interestingly also run by a USOSAN. And we started a tree planting campaign, basically, across 24 schools. We also had the partnership. That partnership included Sterling Foundation, who also graciously provided support alongside Green Sahara. So Green Sahara literally ran that program. All USOSA did was to provide the platform through which they could assess the schools and do it. So the first round has been done. We're looking at the second and third round. So these were also some of the partnerships we engaged in. Of course, we did several things across the International Women's Day, which where we got support from the BPG and other ESCO members. We also initiated the first sports festival in Lagos, because we also thought that sports is a leveler, sports is a unifier. So yes, we found that not everybody will come for a plenary, but trust me, when there's football to be played or when there's sporting activity, they will come. So we said, well, fine, why don't we also come out and demonstrate our skills in sports and show how sports can unify the country? And we as USOSANs already understand unity, but we're just using sports as a platform. And interestingly, because of that initiative, I know other alumni now, non-USOSA alumni, like some of the military schools and some of the command schools, who have taken a cue, basically to look at that. So we did sports. We've promoted sports. We're going into the third edition this year with Port Harcourt hosting, and last year Abuja hosting. We also were involved when we came in with dispute resolution. We had an incident of FGC Kaduna that had a challenge with the Kaduna State government, where the Kaduna State government annexed part of their land, with a view to developing it for some reason, without really following due process. So we were out there in Kaduna. I met even with the governor, the current governor, and he has accepted an amicable settlement. So we do hope that will be resolved. Basically, we must protect our institutions. We must protect our assets, the federal government assets. And these were assets that were used to train us. So we should put an eye on some of those things. So we did a bit of that, and luckily we come through. And this again is another appeal to all our national presidents to monitor their assets very closely, the infrastructure in these schools, so that they are not abused or vandalized or outrightly taken away from the original owners. Then we now went into the core of what we're all about, which was education, and we did an education summit, which was chaired by and well attended by the Chief of Defense Staff, who's one of us, and the current head of service, and quite a number of prominent USOSANs. And the theme of that summit was transforming secondary education for the 21st century, because we all do know now, with the advent of technology, artificial intelligence, digital learning, e-learning, the landscape is changing, the learning experience is changing. Now, how can we contextualize that in secondary education? how can we contextualize that in public education? So it was a great outing where we got input from a lot of people in the technology space, quality assurance space, in the governance space. Basically, tell us, okay, you know what, for the 21st century, these are the kind of tools we require. And I'm happy to announce that we had some successes, in some schools like FGG Shagamu, which got into robotics and won even an international award just by those kind of initiatives. Yes, and there are many other schools now who are stepping up to the plate in terms of ICT and robotics, artificial intelligence. We had a school teacher in Jos who won the Maltina Best Teacher of the Year award. Okay, 6 million naira at the time. Yes, because of the kind of. So I mean, we want to position our teachers. I mean, this is a public school teacher who won a national award over and above even the private school teachers. Our vision, like I always say in USOSA, is to bring these schools back to the point where we will see parents taking their kids out of private schools back into public schools. Not because we have anything against the private schools, but we do believe public schools can serve as a standard for quality education across Nigeria. Then, still on education advocacy and participation, we attended the AGM of the All Unity School Principals, which holds every year. The first was that year it was in Kano. Last year it was in Abuja. Now we normally come to those platforms, or we're invited to those platforms also to share and rub minds with the principals of those schools and the policymakers, even at the ministry, and give our own perspective as alumni. And this has been well received. So I do believe going forward, we'll continue to participate actively in those things. As part of our footprint, also growing our footprint, we've set up a new office in Lagos. We've also set up a new office in Abuja, basically where they can be interfaced. I mean, we cannot run USOSA on emails and WhatsApp groups. They also must be interfaced. And that's not to say we didn't have an office before now, but all I'm just simply saying is that we have opened new offices, basically where they can be interfaced with USOSANs working in those offices, some of them also volunteering to do it. As part of our activities too, we engaged NCC, the National Communications Commission, who through their CSR initiative on digital learning has started to capacitate Unity schools with tools, systems, laptops. And I was there when they launched the FGGC Buhari Abuja version, and they're going around the country and they're picking Unity schools, geopolitical zone by geopolitical zone, to see how we can do that. Again, this is all about our partnerships and trying to get other stakeholders involved, because we need to be talking to each other a bit more rather than operating in silos. So we've tried to do that. I've talked about the budget partnership. I've talked about the Educare partnership. In 2024, we had another sports carnival. I've mentioned the opening of the secretariat. Then we were invited to the Federal Ministry of Education to participate in two critical committees based on the vision of the permanent secretary and the minister at the time. One was an initiative to revamp the infrastructure in those Unity schools, and 15 schools were chosen, and USOSA was part of that committee that dealt with that report. Then we were also invited to participate in the committee that was reviewing disciplinary guidelines for Unity schools. I'm also a member of that committee, and we've done our best to see how we can review those guidelines with a view to improving the quality of behavior of the students. And we also wanted to use that policy to reach out to parents, because parenting is the first school, really. I mean, responsible parenting is where it all starts, and the family and the home is your first platform. So we also want to get parents more involved in some of these initiatives. Still last year, we did the plenary in Port Harcourt in July. We still had the principal's AGM, which we attended. And then we did a few courtesy calls to a few prominent USOSANs, like the Federal Ministry, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, the Head of Service, Barrister Didi Wilson Jack, who's an old student of FGC Benin and Ilorin. And towards the end of last year at our plenary in the UK, the first in diaspora, we launched Alumni Hub, which, like I said earlier on, is a portal, a messaging, a platform, where we can build data on USOSANs, and integrate them in a more cohesive way, as opposed to just having WhatsApp groups and so it will be a one-stop shop where USOSANs can talk to each other, they can search for jobs, they can give jobs, they can sell and buy from fellow USOSANs what products and services are produced and things like that. And then finally, I would say, we're able to strengthen our clusters in UK, Canada, South Africa, and even the USA as part of this mobilization. So we're talking more to each other. And when alumni comes fully on stream, there will be seamless communication across the various continents. We use USOSANs everywhere doing great stuff. So that has been our humble contribution over the last 2 years. And in 2025, well, you don't ask me that question, but when we get there, I'll tell you what we have planned for 2025. Thanks, Joma.
Thank you, PG. You have when you said the humble. There's nothing humble about the accomplishment in 2 years. But I was going to say, am I sure it's not 4 years accomplishment that he has been reading out? It's amazing, and the thing is passion. So some of the questions that I had lined up to ask you, I have heard you even answer them, because the passion is there. You just have to say what is going on. And one major thing I've taken from everything you said, someone said collaboration is the new goal. Collaboration, and that's all you've been doing, and it sets USOSA on another scale. Well done, PJ. I do not know if David, are you taking it away from that point?
Yes, it's very interesting, and when we hear things that are being accomplished in such a short time, we want more. I'll introduce Neoma. She's the Assistant Publicity Secretary to USOSA. I'm sure she has a question or two for PG. So Neoma, please introduce yourself to the audience and ask PG the questions.
Thank you, David. Good day, everyone. My name is Neoma Ofodile. I'm the Assistant Publicity Secretary for USOSA, and it's been an honor working with PG. And the passion that he has for USOSA is very infectious. And this you will see from the growth that we've experienced, the growth in the Old Girls Association, the Old Students Association, and then even up to the fact of getting the diaspora involved. However, I know, PG, that this was not done with, yes, you have the Midas touch, but I know that even the Midas touch still has some challenges. So what I would like to know is, in creating this beautiful success, if you faced any challenges and what you did to overcome those challenges.
Very interesting question, PG.
Yeah, well, I mean, there will be challenges. In organizational reform, in organizational leadership, there will always be challenges. Being able to set an agenda, being able to get everybody on the same page to pursue that agenda, getting feedback, making adjustments, getting people to understand what you're also trying to do. We've done our humble bit, and I don't take any credit because it's not just me, it's us as a team. All of us have worked hard. Choma in the room has been part of it. My VPG, my ESCO, my SG, I have a fantastic SG, great job. I've had people in the team that have worked with me and have tried to understand the vision. And that is what I'm here to do. I'm here to serve you guys. I'm here to provide some direction. I'm only first among equals. All right, I'll do my bit, and in another 1 or 2 years, I'm gone too. So, and the next person comes, and that's what we're expected to do. Continue in leadership, improve on what you've met, and then let the people decide. So I'm not after any glory. I'm here as a Nigerian, proudly USOSAN. No apologies for that. And we're known for excellence. We're known for creativity. We're known, as leaders. Wherever, So the Midas touch is all of us. It's not just PG. So I don't personalize it. It's something that I think is in all of us as USOSANs. So those challenges were there, and don't forget too. Yes, we are 110 schools at different phases of evolution and organizational maturity. So there are some schools that are barely 20, 25 years old. There are schools that are over 40 years old. There are some that are over 50. And they've experienced different forms of leadership, quality of governance, even participation. USOSA itself was just created 17 years ago. So, we came in between, between 1966 when all this started to 2000, I think, 2023 when the last school was set up. So you can see there's a generational difference, there are generational gaps too. And in understanding, when we were in Unity schools, there are certain things that used to obtain in school then, in terms of quality, in terms of standards, that are not there today. So if you talk to a typical USOSA who finished a federal school 10 years ago, you probably get a very different perspective from one who finished 30 or 40 years ago. Okay, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just the way those schools have evolved. It's the way those policy options have also evolved over time. Infrastructure too has been a big challenge, so everybody has a different story to tell. But what we try to do, and that's why I mentioned inclusion, I want us to be as inclusive as possible. USOSA has more female members than male members, so we must mainstream the female gender into the governance of USOSA, into the activities of USOSA, because even by number, the females are more. So we must give them that opportunity, which they rightly deserve and they merit and can handle. I've also said that for the younger schools, we need to find a platform. I want to host a dinner this year with the Gen Z schools. I want to put it that way. The younger generation, so to speak, of schools that came in, after the second generation. So maybe third and fourth generation schools, to bring them up to speed about what unity is about, what nation building is all about, because the way we understood it is not the way they understand it. When I was in Federal Government College Jos, we had students from all over Nigeria, literally, in equal proportion, literally, maybe 3 in a class, each. Today, you find that a lot of those schools have been localized, so you don't have that kind of mix, you don't have that kind of national flavor that we used to have. So in understanding nation building, and when you come to plenary and you're talking to some of these younger people about nation building, one Nigeria, love of country, it's sometimes very strange and alien for them. So those are some of the things also, even from my personal experience in USOSA over the years, that I found a bit challenging, not just for me, but even my predecessors. I was a founding member of USOSA when it was set up 17 years ago by our great convener, Albert Okumagba and Ellen Saigokin at the time. And I've seen how it's evolved, but we need to try and bridge those gaps. There are also issues around even governance. We need to look at governance closely and to ensure that the OSAs, as much as possible, are run properly. Okay, because they are components of USOSA. So if they are run properly, of course, USOSA will function, also seamlessly and with little challenges. But if there are challenges around governance, or there are disputes, there are court cases, which have actually happened in certain instances, you find that it also affects us one way or the other. So yeah, these are organizational challenges, but I'm not here to write the next book of lamentations. As a leader, I'm here to also solve problems. So I'll do my best with my team, with my able BOT, to see how we can surmount these challenges and make USOSA bigger, better, and a world-class organization.
Excellent. PG, my question is a 3-in-1. I would like you to explain a bit about your vision for your second tenure, the thoughts behind diaspora plenaries, and also what your prayers would be for Unity schools, especially in terms of technology. You've talked a bit about technology. In your opening remarks, you told us a bit about what you plan to do in 2025. However, 2025 is just 1 year of a 2-year tenure. So if you could just roll out to us the impact that you hope yourself and the association will make in the next 2 years. Thank you.
Okay, well, the vision for USOSA has been pretty much the same right from the foundation. And don't forget, visioning is a long-term thing. You don't vision every year. You vision, you take a horizon of 20, 25, 30 years. And our vision has always been to improve the quality of public education, through better access and better quality. All right. And we do this in so many ways. All right. By the alumni participating in supporting infrastructural development, participation in the welfare of teachers and improvement, participating in the governance structure like the SBMCs, getting involved in the education summits, which we also have started to do, so that we can strengthen the sector. We also, I think, have gained a lot of traction with our interface with the parent ministry, the Federal Ministry of Education. All right, we're partners in progress with them. It used to be very strong. It became a bit weak. Now, I think we're growing the relationship back, and this will continue. So I'm not here to change the rules. I'm here to continue what my predecessors have done, and that vision is a long-term vision. Except it's only unless and until they have human capital index and quality of education improved in Nigeria, that vision must remain, because we don't feature on top when it comes to top quality public education anywhere in the world, not even in Africa. Even though our people are good when they are tested in other climes, but locally we must cultivate the proper educational system. So we're going to continue to vision that way, and our vision will continue to address those things. And like I mentioned, there have been some successes. There are some of our schools, UNITATE schools, who have gotten international awards in ICT. I mentioned robotics. I mentioned a few. There's somebody who did something in agro-allied, creating was some technology around agriculture. There are quite a number of things going on. So we have a responsibility, and it's how intensely we pursue that responsibility to improve our schools that will now raise that index, the human capital index, to where it should be. But we're not there. So it's not something that will end in my tenure. It's something that we'll have to continue doing for a very long time to come, to such a point where we can see our schools back on that pedestal. Dave, don't forget, if you remember, South Africans came to school in UNITATE schools, if you remember.
Absolutely.
Don't forget.
Absolutely.
Zimbabweans came to school. They got top quality education. We even had foreign teachers.
We did.
I'm not saying we will bring back
Ghana,
foreign
from
teachers.
the Philippines.
Just saying, exactly. So those things were there, and we will try to continue to improve the quality of our teachers, the learning experience, the digital tools that many of you are putting resources in for different schools, basically to raise the quality and the standard of education. So that visioning will continue. The way we do it may alter based on public policy, budgeting, resources available, but that vision will have to continue, because if we're going to build this country, we're going to build this nation, we must provide top quality education. Social infrastructure, non-negotiable. That's why I'm glad that the federal government of Nigeria today has education as number 3 on public expenditure, and I do hope that a large chunk of that will go into basic and secondary education, because that is the foundation. All right. Then to address the second point, which is diaspora, it's amazing. All right, and I've gone around the globe, and anytime I meet USOSANs outside the country, they're doing great stuff, and all of them will tell you, it all started at federal government college. They will tell you, even if today they're American citizens or they're UK citizens or they'll tell you it was that experience at FGC or FGGC or FST that gave them that, that launch, as it were. So we said, look, hey, hold on. We have this great talent out there. We have this great resources out there. We have our brothers and sisters out there. We need to bring them in. All right. And I mean, where else but the UK first? Because again, UK is like an extension. There's hardly any Nigerian major group that doesn't have representation there. And in the UNITATE schools, do the same thing. I mean, so we had great people who offered to host a plenary and see how they, in their own way too, can bring back, and can give back and create even more impact. One, because they are in diaspora, the quality of education there is somewhat better than what we have at home. So we can learn from them too. What are you guys doing that we need to adapt? Not to adopt, but to adapt. Okay? Because we also have our own local realities. And because before now, many of them will also tell you, look, nobody came to us to say what, give back or do something. So we've been here, and we're having a good time here. But, for the first time, we've come to them to say, you know what, don't forget home. Right. It's your country. No matter how well you've done here, you need to put something back into your country. So we're very happy, and I know, Dave, you were part of this last year in the UK, where you guys delivered a wonderful plenary for the first time, the first in diaspora. And this year we're going to Canada. Okay, again, Canada for many other reasons. Canada also has high quality education standards, and we know our people there are also doing very well. Interestingly, both team leads in Canada and UK are our females, our sisters. Okay, doing great stuff. After Canada, we already are talking to people around South Africa, and there are different parts of the diaspora that want to do this. But I think it's more of an inclusive strategy, where those of you who are in diaspora can share your kind of experience you have with us, can also help mobilize support. And why not? Who says we can't have Unity School children doing exchange programs with children in public education in the UK? Who says that we can't do that? Can arrange that with some of you out there? Those kind of things should be possible. So we exchange ideas, we exchange experiences, and through that, a whole lot of things can happen. So for diaspora, we believe the diasporans are very important to us. They are our brothers and our sisters. We have very high regards. And I think they have a very critical role in promoting not just public schools in Nigeria, but the future of our country, Nigeria, too. Then thirdly, you talked about technology Unity schools. And that, for us, also is also a key area. And when we had the Education Summit in 2023, we brought in that element. How can technology help us fast track, leapfrog, quality and learning experience? Today, a 5-6-year-old is on the phone, learning, tapping away. It's a totally new, different experience. A different experience. There's access to technology. How can we make this access more available to more students, particularly those who are underserved? Don't forget, the Unity schools were a leveler. It didn't matter whether you had a very privileged background or you were from a very underprivileged background. It was for everyone. So again, how will technology serve as a leveler? And you're sitting in class, everybody has a tablet or has a laptop, or you can go to the ICT lab and you can do Google classes, you can do, literally anything you want on the system by way of learning. Those days we used to have what they call library hours in FGC. Now, those library hours don't have to be with books, they could be with the system, where you're learning from different types of resources now, different repositories of knowledge that you can tap into. So we think technology can fast track, okay, and could be a leveler. And we can develop new programmers, new coders, people who can do remote work, even from Nigeria, because they've gotten that exposure to technology. So for us, Dave, technology is a key element, a focus area. We'll continue to rely on it as a tool and as a resource to promote and improve public education. And we've made this known also to our partners and the owners, the federal government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Education, that yeah, we can do this. And I'm sure it's doable. So that emphasis will continue.
Absolutely brilliant. Obviously, we could go on and on and on, but for time resource, PG is a very busy person. We're all busy doing one thing or the other. Before we go, however, I would just like to say a few words about this collaboration. For those of you who don't know the meaning of TNN, it's the new Nigerian. We have a website and we also have a podcast brand. The essence or the reason for the creation of TNN was to bridge the gap between diaspora and Nigeria, motherland. It appears that we have the same sort of instincts, and this has resulted in the collaboration between TNN and USOSA for this beautiful thing that we are starting. It's the maiden edition of the collaboration in terms of podcast. Watch out for more, audience. It's going to be non-stop now. All right. You can find us on YouTube, TNN USOSA. You can find both organizations on TikTok. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Alumni Hub, where you can interact. Please always click the like button, click on the follow button. Your support means a lot to us. It will generate some sort of funding to help continue the program. I'll give PG the last word, and then every other person can follow after that. Thank you, PG.
Okay, well, just to thank you, Dave. Thank Chioma and Neoma for this opportunity to address USOSANs and indeed the online world, wherever they are. Our job as leaders is to serve the people for the greater good of our country and for its development. And we're happy to align any group or association that is doing same. Our concern is much more around public education, but if there's impact, if there is a partnership that will lead to improvement for our country, we're all for it. So I want to thank you for the effort you're making, and please feel free to reach out anytime. USOSA would be a willing and I think is an able partner with TNN to push the frontiers to improve the quality of education in our country and to overall national development. So thank you to Choma and Nyoma, who also have done a great job and are still doing a great job to making this happen.
Chioma, your last words for today.
Okay, thank God you added for today. All right, I just want to say thank you for to TNN for the opportunity for this collaboration. It's very key to USOSA because the mandate is to ensure that we make USOSA visible, and we have started it already. So I'm happy to announce that people should watch this space. A lot of great stuff are going to come in this space. So there will be a time where if you don't listen to this podcast, you'll be able to sleep because we have so much coming. So thank you for joining us, and we look forward to greater things.
Naoma?
Okay, thank you, David. It's been an interesting evening, and being a junior girl, junior girl, I know that for our seniors, then they had really interesting and amazing experience as students of Unity schools. And when I talk to my juniors, the experience we had, they don't have it. And this platform will give an opportunity to share different experiences from different sets. So I want to encourage everyone to, just stay tuned, stay glued, always like, always share, and comment and follow, share your experience whenever you see anything that has been posted. And if you have a story to tell, this is an opportunity for you to tell your story, because I know that there's a whole lot to tell. And thank you so much.
You will find the links to all of our social media handles at the bottom of the podcast. We're grateful, PG. There will be more opportunities for us to speak with you, and also other USOSANs who will give us audience. On behalf of USOSA, which I'm a proud member of, on behalf of TNN, I'd like to say thank you, audience. Don't forget to click the like button, follow us on all our social media handles. With your support, we will grow stronger. I'm now going to let the audience go. We can catch up for 1 or 2 minutes before we end the conversation. So let me let the audience go. Thank you, audience. Thank you so much.